If I want to harvest corn in the fall, there's a process, isn't there? I've got to clear the field. I've got to till the soil. I've got to make sure the soil is healthy, put the ingredients in there. I've got to plant, make sure there's water, do some weeding, take care of it, nurture it. But if I do all those things, will I reap the harvest in the fall?
If you don't have a virus come
Yeah,
through.
right, yeah. It's the process. I think if we study the process of learning and we're true to that process, the harvest is there to be reaped. We're at the beginning of class right now in this semester. So the last 2 days, I let them know that I've been out talking to students, which when we were developing that framework, I and others did a lot of. Did focus groups and student interviews, and I tell them what we heard was that serious, rigorous preparation before class was not necessary, nor was it wise. The idea, I explained to the students, is, at least what the students told us, was you do some study before class to get yourself kind of oriented, and if there's a quiz, you kind of, make sure you can check that off. But you don't do serious, rigorous study. You go to class, observe the teacher pretty closely, take some good notes, figure out what the teacher's emphasizing, and then take that and use it to study more rigorously right before the exam. So we talk about that a little bit. And we talk about the problem that creates for learning, because it's a kind of plug and chug learning. It's short-term memory learning designed to manage towards the grade. And so the first thing is for us together to talk about where we're at. And are we happy with it? Are we satisfied with it? What's the pros? What's the cons of it? So that's the spirit of prepare. It's the idea that you should do for yourself what you can to establish a baseline understanding of the material. So the first thing I do, as you can see, is more conceptual and philosophical. The second thing I do is I deploy a method that I found helpful in holding them accountable. It has several prongs to it. One is I keep track of tardies. I don't do tardy. Don't come to this class tardy. If you do, it will hurt your preparation and participation grade. Two, I don't do unexcused absences. Don't do that, it'll sink your boat very fast. Three, don't be a student, be a teacher. You're going to study this reading assignment, those 35 pages, rigorously before you come to class. Do it in the mind of a teacher, because if you enter the mind of a teacher, you'll be far more active. Because when you teach, you have to organize. You have to put the parts and the pieces in the right place. You have to think about, what am I going to do with this material to be able to communicate it, to these others. So don't be tardy, don't be absent, and before you come to class, teach the material. The fourth thing is participation. And by that I mean be active in class, not passive. When you come to class, everybody will have a baseline understanding. Everybody will have spent their 2 hours. We are going to take that and move it into application of that material. Analysis, interpretation, where we agree with it, where we disagree with it, where we see it strong, where we see it weak. Like I say, at the end of it, all those four things together are going to constitute 50% of their grade. my experience tells me as long as they're aware of that process, of that story of being a student in class, they're happy to do it. It's harder for them, but it brings them back to the labor of the learner, to the law of the harvest. And it allows them to finish a class saying, you know what, I really did work at that, I really did prepare. And that engagement in class, my mind was working at a higher level and I was developing capacity, and I really did improve. And if they walk away and they got the high grade and there wasn't really improvement and deep and transformative thing going on, you know, they might be happy about the grade, but they know that the experience failed to deliver. And it's not all their fault. I mean, it's, you know, it's all of us who allow this to go on, and I certainly do and have, and I'm trying to make the changes. It's hard to know for sure when somebody has really changed, because you really do need time to know that. This is, in my opinion, it's just one of the issues of higher education and assessment and trying to figure out this puzzle right now. But what I can tell you for sure is where we're at. There's quite a bit of evidence that is not leading to improvement, to real deep and transformative, meaningful learning. There's way too much of plug and chug and manage towards a grade and getting high grades, learning little. And we have pretty good data that all that we hoped was happening in class is not happening in the way that we hoped. I think my approach has been, if I can bring us back to the process and the principles of learning, then make sure everybody's out on that, on the farm, doing the weeding, doing the planting, preparing the soil, doing all this associated with receiving the harvest. The harvest is there to be had. The process assures it. The question is the process really being engaged in?